shameless man stopped Aisha outside the women's restroom and demanded to know if she was the girl who had been dancing wildly earlier. Aisha tried to run away, but he stopped her and dragged her away by force. A man who witnessed the scene immediately alerted Drew. "Mr. Sherman, I just saw one of your nieces being taken against her will into room 106. Please come quickly." The CEO, already on edge after yet another rejection from Aisha, coldly replied that he didn't care at all, but only a second later, he was already running at full speed toward room 106. Thrown onto the bed, Aisha immediately released an incapacitating gas, and her attacker collapsed almost instantly. "He's so heavy," Aisha thought. Just as the door suddenly burst open, Drew didn't hesitate for a second. He lunged at the attacker and beat him mercilessly. Sensing that he wouldn't stop anytime soon, Aisha rushed toward Drew and hugged him tightly to calm him down. Once Drew regained control, he called his men to deal with the man from room 106 and took Aisha away with him. Moments later, Aisha was being drenched with water in the bathroom. Confused and shaken, she demanded that Drew explain himself or let her leave. When she tried to walk out, she was pushed to the ground as Drew continued to spray her. "Where did he touch you? Tell me, where?" he shouted uncontrollably. He ordered her to wash every part of her body that bastard might have touched. Aisha stood up in tears, unable to understand what she had done to deserve this. Why did he always manage to humiliate her so deeply? Drew told her it was all her fault because she kept trying to seduce him. "You're driving me crazy, and this is all your fault," he shouted in her face. When did I ever try to seduce you?" Aisha demanded angrily. "You're doing it right now," he said, pulling her into his arms. Aisha pushed him away and reminded him not to forget that he was a married man. Drew let her go, but then he noticed her birthmark. He stopped her, and everything suddenly made sense. His wife had the same mark, and more than that, the scar on Aisha's face was actually makeup. He finally realized that he had been deceived by a family of con artists. In the year 2030, specifically in the city of Cathay, everyone praised the ingenuity of one woman, Junju, a magician who excelled equally in medicine and poison. Unfortunately for her, such fame also attracted the darkest conspiracies. After a sudden and violent explosion, Junju was unwillingly thrown through time. She could hear men discussing her premeditated death and what they planned to do with her still warm body. She opened her eyes and instantly grabbed the wandering hand of one of them. Terrified, the three men backed away, convinced they were facing a zombie. After a moment of reflection, they realized it was indeed the weak Junju they knew. She wasn't dead yet. What better opportunity to amuse themselves before sending her to the afterlife, they thought. Shocked, Junju realized it had been a long time since anyone had dared to disrespect her. In an instant, the first man who approached her threateningly received a powerful uppercut that sent him flying like a dead leaf under the horrified gaze of the other two. Impossible. This wasn't the Junju they knew. Where was the weak woman, the useless and incapable member of the family? Junju advanced toward the remaining men and said coldly, "I heard everything you said you wanted to do to me while I was unconscious. Anyone who dares humiliate me deserves nothing but death." A second later, all of them were on the ground. Junju immediately understood her situation. She was now trapped in the body of another Junju, in another era. A Junju who, unlike her, had no power and had been rejected and bullied relentlessly by everyone around her. There was no way she would remain that pitiful woman no one respected. She had only one goal, to reclaim all the glory she once possessed. Meanwhile, a sealed god was awakening, struggling to break free. Junju felt a violent earthquake as the ground beneath her feet collapsed. Before she could react, she fell headfirst into the newly formed abyss. The god had just broken free from his chains and leapt toward the sky to escape the underground when he suddenly noticed something falling straight toward him. A woman? He thought in shock. Junju flashed him her brightest smile, leaving the god utterly perplexed. Without any warning, she stepped on his face, offered a mocking apology, and used him as a foothold to launch herself toward the exit. Once again, the god found himself trapped by the same fate that had imprisoned him for the past 1,000 years. Unacceptable. There was no way he would let this happen again.
Sign it, Jaden said coldly. Ashley tried to ease the tension, but her husband had no time to waste. Shaken, she confessed that she had always known their marriage would end in divorce. After all, it had been a forced marriage for him. Now that her family was bankrupt and her father was in prison, he was finally free to break all ties with her. Ashley took her husband's hand and offered him a drink, but he grew more and more impatient. "If you don't drink, I won't sign anything," she said firmly. "I spent all these years trying to make our marriage work, but you never never loved me, never even touched me. We won't see each other again after the divorce, so at least give me this moment. Have a drink with me, please. Fine, just one glass, her husband replied, quickly emptying it. After that, Ashley signed the divorce papers without resistance and then made him a proposition. Well, you know what kind. You're completely crazy, Jaden shouted angrily. My family may be ruined, she replied calmly, but I'm not stingy. $1,000 for the night sounds fair to me. Feeling unwell, Jaden asked if she had put something in his drink. You're still sharp, she said with a smile. As Jaden hurled insults at her, Ashley effortlessly threw him onto the bed. Maybe I was too gentle with you all these years, or maybe you never really knew the real me. We're doing this, so be quiet. The next morning, Jaden woke up with a splitting headache. He read the note left by his ex-wife, who hadn't forgotten to leave his payment on the table. 6 years later, Ashley returned, with no fewer than 9 babies running around her. The two most unruly ones, Joe and Sam, challenged each other to a race to see who was faster. Joe pulled ahead, beating Sam, only to crash into a woman. His chewing gum stuck to her dress and she screamed in horror. My designer dress! What is wrong with this child? Joe apologized repeatedly, but one of Liliana's bodyguards suddenly shoved the poor child aside. Ashley shouted from a distance, warning the reckless guards who dared to treat a child so brutally, especially in public. Then a voice rang out from afar. Stay away from him! Ashley would recognize that voice anywhere. Impossible. Jaden Reed.
From the very first glance, Ollie noticed something strange. The black thread tied to the marital lineage between Theo and his fiancée was suspicious. Normally, a red thread represents a marriage bond blessed by the matchmaking god. Theo's destiny had been completely disrupted. Ollie asked Kane to place her down on the ground and called her grandnephew over to her. Theo bent down and warmly greeted his grandaunt. Ollie told him not to be afraid, then took out a small wooden sword. She grabbed the black thread and cut it in one swift motion, telling him that she had chased away the evil surrounding him. Theo suddenly snapped back to himself and began to wonder why he had ever loved Sabrina. Ollie gave him ginseng as a gift, and Kane invited everyone to sit at the table. Everyone happily served Aunt Ollie, who looked radiant. Sabrina, who had been eagerly waiting for the announcement of her engagement to Theo, was stunned when he confessed that he needed more time. She had no intention of letting Theo slip away. Suddenly the lights went out, and Theo and Sabrina found themselves on the stage for an important announcement. Ollie was shocked to once again see dark, negative shadows surrounding Theo. For his sake, she had to intervene. She rushed toward Theo as Sabrina counted down the seconds before saying yes. Before Theo could even propose, Ollie had already seized the strange threads binding him to Sabrina. Shocked, Sabrina wondered how Ollie could possibly touch those threads. Theo was suddenly struck by a severe headache, and Sabrina realized she was about to lose her control over him. She lunged toward Ollie, trying to stop her from ruining her plans, but Elio was there to block her. Were you trying to push my great aunt? He demanded angrily. A flustered Sabrina claimed she meant no harm. Elio told her to be quiet and stop lying, or he would show everyone what the security cameras had recorded. Seizing the moment, Ollie forced the controlling spirit out of Theo's body. Once fully conscious, Theo could clearly see the spirit that had possessed him. You've gone too far, Sabrina, he shouted. Guards! After an exhausting day at work and a failed interview, Sylvie Jane had only one wish: to curl up in her boyfriend's arms.
Can I give you a ride?
No, thank you. My boyfriend will be here to pick me up soon. Unfortunately for her, that boyfriend was busy elsewhere. Sylvie couldn't believe her eyes. Push her away, and I'll listen to every explanation. Right before her stunned eyes, she witnessed her boyfriend's betrayal. His explanations were as humiliating as they were cruel. He bluntly told her that he wanted to change his life, that dating a rich woman would help him climb the social ladder faster. That was why he had found himself the beloved niece of a powerful CEO. After this brutal and humiliating breakup, Sylvie refuses to stand by and let that pathetic man and his new lover live out their perfect romance. So when she spots the luxurious Rolls-Royce of the billionaire uncle, an idea strikes her. She will go after the CEO herself. Her ex wants a shortcut to success. No problem. She will do everything it takes to become his aunt. She walks closer to the car and flashes her brightest smile. My phone is dead. Could you help me?
I don't allow women who already have boyfriends in my car.
Well then, this one won't be so easy to seduce. Courageous and determined, Sylvie refuses to give up. She is set on taking revenge on her ungrateful ex. By sheer luck, the handsome billionaire uncle turns out to be the very man she is supposed to interview. Sylvie puts everything into motion, and after several crushing failures, she finally manages to make the billionaire fall madly in love with her. But masks never stay on forever, and when the secrets are revealed, hearts are shattered into 1,000 pieces. Serena was running late for an important job interview. She sprinted with all her strength and rushed into an elevator just as the doors were closing. Inside, she collided with a man, and her hair became tangled in the button of the stranger's jacket. Embarrassed, Serena apologized repeatedly and asked him to help untangle her hair. Everyone in the elevator was shocked by Serena's boldness. She had no idea she had stepped into an elevator reserved for company executives. Intrigued, the man looked at her and told her not to move while he helped her. The moment Serena heard his voice, a vague memory suddenly surfaced. She felt as though she had heard that voice before, in a moment that was a little, well, you know the kind. She immediately pushed the thought away and thanked him for his help. Another man in the elevator, noticing Serena's lingering gaze, stepped between them. He asked her mockingly whether she was looking for a sugar daddy instead. Shocked, Serena didn't even get the chance to explain herself before she was pushed out of the elevator and directed toward the elevator reserved for employees. Furious, Serena couldn't stop herself from calling the overprotected man an escort boy. Hearing this, the CEO of the Yu family immediately changed his plans. "Take me to the interview room for new employee recruitment," he muttered. A few minutes later, Serena was called in for her interview. As she entered, she looked at the people who would be questioning her. Wait, oh no, it's the guy from the elevator, she screamed internally. With a casual expression, the CEO read her resume aloud. Studied at Wharton Business School. Degree incomplete, Serena tried to explain, but another interviewer cut in first. "You didn't get your degree? Do you think the Dynasty Group is a charity? How was she even allowed to attend this interview?" The CEO cut him off and asked Serena whether she had read the job requirements before applying. He added that her pathetic level of German didn't even meet the minimum qualifications to work at the company, then disdainfully tossed her resume onto the floor. As Serena bent down to pick up her documents, he twisted the knife deeper, saying that no company would ever hire someone so pathetic and without a degree. Enraged, Serena challenged him if he had the courage. One of the interviewers jumped up immediately, intrigued by the gamble she dared to propose to the CEO. "Give me 3 months at the Dynasty Hotel," Serena said, "and I will increase monthly profits by at least 30%. If I succeed, Dynasty must hire me permanently with a salary 3 times higher. And you, sir," she added, staring the CEO straight in the eyes, "will personally apologize to me."